Good evening. Yes, we are now live. So we had a false start then, but you wouldn't know that because it wasn't live. But I've just told you now, so there you go. So here I am again. Welcome from an incredibly wet, rainy, miserable Manchester. Yeah, it's been raining since crack of dawn, and yes, it has. It's been grim, but hopefully tonight will cheer you up a bit. And but I'm quite happy with the news that we today hit 53,500 viewers, which is good. Thanks to all of you for listening in, whether you're listening live or during the course of the week, because obviously this goes out permanently, really, and it usually carries on getting viewers for about 4 or 5 days after we've broadcast. So thanks to all of you for your support. And before I bring my guest on for the evening, I'm going to play a little tune. That's called Don't Play With Fire. You think he's dangerous, and you think that's good, and you want to tame him. You thought that you could, but you should run away, but you won't. Stop yourself, but you don't want to play with fire. Don't play with fire. Now you believe you found the real him, but what you see is what you get. It's what it says on the tin. Well, you should run away, but you won't. Stop yourself, but you don't wanna get hurt. Don't play with fire. Don't play with fire. Things ain't going so easy. He hurts you and makes you cry. He said he's so sorry, so you give him just one more try. Well, you should run away, but you won't. Stop yourself, but you don't want to get hurt. So don't play with fire. Don't play with fire. Now love doesn't always come easy. Not all teeth and big smiles. If this one don't turn out so good, to me it won't be no surprise. 'Cause you should run away, but you won't. Stop yourself, but you don't want to get hurt. So don't play with fire. We got there in the end. Good grief. So, yes, here we are. And now I shall introduce my guest for this evening. Where are you? You're hiding. Malaya.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
A little bit of a wobble there. As I was saying to you the other day, I've been waiting for my new Mac to be delivered, and it's arrived today. So I've been praying that this one is not going to give up the ghost during the course of the evening. But at the moment, it's heating up. That's the thing that worries me. So if there's a
be nice to it.
Yeah. I might be the first presenter ever to burst into flames spontaneously on air, but I'd rather not be, to be honest. So tell us, what you've been up to apart from this wonderful new album?
Wow. I guess, like so many of us, not as much as I would like. We released the album, we did the pre-order, got the single out end of August, early September, and we were just so kind of vamped up for it, and we didn't really know what it was going to feel like with lockdown. But
Yeah.
actually, it's been okay. It's not the same, of course, as being out and gigging and seeing
No.
everyone. It's so exciting when you put a new album out, and of course, you want to go catch up with all your friends, all your
Mm.
musical buddies. But you know, we're all in the same boat, so we're cool.
Yes. Yes. Well, you know, and as you know, I've had various people on from other parts of the world, and in New York they were saying exactly the same. In Nashville they were saying exactly the same. In Miami they were saying exactly the same. So it's and I'm sure everybody in Europe's the same. So we're stuck with it, really.
Yeah,
So let's talk a bit about the album.
sure.
Have you? The idea of the still side and the blue side. Where did that come from?
Well, that kind of started initially after we'd listened to the tracks. We got the album recorded, and we realized that the songs kind of fell into these two sides. So I can't kind of claim all the credit and say it was a writing decision, but Steve put it so eloquently when he said about this dichotomy of love, that love is, you know, can be brilliant, but equally it can be, you know, it can drive us to do things that we shouldn't do. You know, it's the same emotion.
Yeah.
And so the tracks fall into those songs that celebrate the love of the mother, but in the same song, the heartache that comes as she loses her son, the love that we have for a bad man, and the fact that we can kind of be in love with. You were just singing about it there.
That's
You know,
exactly what that
let's
song
just
was
go one
about.
more round, because there's something exciting about bad love, even though you know we perhaps don't want to confess to that. So we went with the pink and the blue side. We wanted the creativeness of the album to reflect that, the dichotomy of love, the good and the bad. You know, our songwriters, we're a bit naughty. We like to talk about love a lot, so you have to keep finding ways to package this subject up.
Yeah, and that's good. No, it's nice. So, do you want to start off and give us a song? Tell us a little bit about the one you've chosen to start with.
I think it would be great to start with the single off the album, which is "Down to the Bone."
Right. Okay. Love it. I do like this one. This is my early morning walking song at the moment, I have to say.
Yes, that's right. We're going to have a Down to the Bone march, I think.
Yes.
So just give me a second because I have to get my tech running.
Well, you're doing this is a groundbreaking thing you're doing. This is the first time we've had somebody actually working with a recording backing track.
Yeah.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have been working hard on this one.
Yes, so we couldn't, of course, bring the guitarist here. So we're working with backing tracks, and it turns out that the tech doesn't like that very much. Going through a little interface, getting the tracks off the iPad into the interface, out to you guys, back to me and my cans. But we figured it out. It didn't happen straight away. We got
I mean, the sight of you, was it last night or the night before, or possibly both, surrounded by cables, adapters, and small electronic boxes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've put my room back together now. I can get in here. Okay, so this is Down to the Bone. Give me thumbs up if. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I don't like the way this night is shaping up. A couple drinks won't be enough. Lonely, yeah, I'd say so. Down to the bone, down to the bone. I got the blues aching me down to the bone. Outside, I hear the rain as it starts to fall. I'm wishing now that man would call. Looks like that case is closed. Down to the bone, down to the bone. I got the blues aching me down to the bone. I always say tomorrow I'll start bouncing back. But so far I'm still feeling way, way off track. When the sun will shine, it's really hard to say. Maybe once all his memories fade. For now, I can't let them go. Down to the bone, down to the bone. I got the blues aching me. Down to the bone, down to the bone, down to the bone, down to the bone. I got the blues aching me. Down to the bone. Yeah. Down to the bone. Mm-hmm. Down to the bone. Yeah. Down to the bone. Mm-hmm. Down to the bone.
Great. Love it. Love it. It's a
Is
great,
that all right? I got
great
a
tune,
little
that.
down there. Is that all right? We're not peeking.
No, that sounded great. That's sounding
Awesome.
good. Yeah. We've got a hi here from somebody called Lou Moore. Is that
Oh,
any?
hi.
Don't know who Lou Moore is. Well, hello, Lou. Thanks for joining in.
Oh, yeah, Lou. Hi, Lou.
How you doing, Lou?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Lovely to. Thanks for coming along.
Great. So, yeah, great song. Any particular inspiration for that one, or was it the hook line? The hook line's a cracker.
Well, this was one of the very early collaborations with Dennis, actually, and Dennis has taught me so much about the succinctness of a word and the expression of a word. So when we were working on Down to the Bone, just the phrase, because down to the bone means so many things, doesn't it? But one thing it means expressly is it doesn't get deeper. You know, we say you cut down to the bone, it hurts down to the bone. And that is something I think he's really, really good with. So when we were working on this track, I wanted it to be kind of tight and a bit moody and a little bit spat. Just to
do you want to tell us a little bit about Dennis, because people out there don't know who Dennis is?
Oh, well,
I gather not many people do know who Dennis is.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis is just a fantastic songwriter out in the States. So he's Grammy winning multiple times. He's won the Blues Music Awards, the Handy Awards many, many times. He's worked with, some huge artists, B.B. King, and of course, Robert Cray, who he's worked with successfully on many, many albums, Grammy Award winning albums. And, the guy is just so talented, a fantastic bass player, producer, songwriter. And he has this ability to have a lens on the world that perhaps we don't all tune into. So he's very disciplined. He writes every day. And when we're working on a track and he's sending me lyrics, he can say in 4 or 5 words what I can get in about a verse. He just condenses it down, and he'll ask me time and time again, Malaya, what is that word for? Why is it there? And
that's interesting.
His rules are, if you have to explain songs, then they're not working. They should tell the story, and the listener should be able to understand them.
That's interesting that I was talking to somebody a while ago about comedy writing.
Right.
And on a course for comedy writing, actually, and the guy was explaining how if he's written a 5-minute stand-up routine, he will break it down into what's actually the punchline, then what's the setup, and anything else just gets spinned.
Yeah.
So that you just strip it down, to the bone, literally.
Yeah.
It's and in fact, if you read anything about writing in general, I'm always quoting Hemingway, who said, write drunk, edit sober. You know, the idea that you know
I often do.
Yes, we all do, don't we?
I think that's the songwriting process.
Yeah, and even what's his name? The screenwriter, the guy who wrote Butch Cassidy. He's written an amazing book called William Goldman wrote a book called Adventures in the Screen Trade, and he says exactly the same thing. He says that the art of screenwriting is rewriting. You know, and it's always down to this minimalism. So that's very interesting. Sorry, what's Dennis's surname? Dennis
Walker.
Walker.
Dennis Walker. So I mean, just if you just Google Dennis Walker, and you don't even need to put blues in the search, but if you just Google Dennis Walker, a prolific songwriter, a hugely successful musician and producer. I mean, he's, you know, he really is up there, and the fact that he's working with little old Malaya from Norwich over here.
How did that come about?
Well, that's Steve Jurglovich, isn't it? And his magic wand. He just got this little black book and this magic wand, and he keeps sprinkling fairy dust on things. I mean, he's worked with so many people as editor of Blues Matters over the years. Made some fantastic connections. Rowland, you know, Steve, a lovely guy, lovely affable guy. Yeah. And you know, people connect with him, and I think that after so many years in the industry and in his job, he's come and said, look, I'm working with this artist. We kind of give her a listen. And I think because of the friendships there and the established relationships and the mutual respect that they've had for each other over the years, they're saying, yeah, well, you know, we'll give her a listen.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Fortunately, they're coming back and saying, oh, you know, she's good.
Great.
We can work with this. Yeah.
Well done to you, and well done to Steve. Well, yeah, I know you'll be listening, Steve.
Yeah,
I can safely say that. So, okay, what about other stuff off the album then? You know, let's go back to the dichotomy idea again.
Yeah.
What other song would you like to do off the album? Well,
okay. So let's think. We got I mean, one of the things that I like to address in songwriting is, you know, some of this contemporary living that we're all involved with. So this idea that, you know, women, I think especially, sorry guys, you know, you guys do a great job, but I do think for women especially, it's really tough right now because there's almost this expectation that we're going to clean the house and look after the guy and raise the kids. But on top of this, we need to get, you know, degrees and masters and hold down a successful career. It's an awful lot. So I wrote a song called Kiss My Troubles Away because, you know, the one thing that kind of makes that all, I want to say acceptable. That's not the word I'm looking for. The one thing that makes it more bearable and durable is when you're in that relationship with someone that, you know, you love and they can just make everything stop just for a minute and you can just be in a moment with one other person. Because life is so busy, and I worry that a lot of us don't stop to just be present and be present with another person. So I wrote Hot Love as a kind of an address to that idea. I'm sorry, not Hot Love. I'll be getting my own songs.
I was going to say that. I was going to say you switched rapidly there to Kiss My Troubles. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, the idea of the slowing down as well, because on the basis that I've read so much over the last 8 months, whatever it is, about people who are saying, well, hang on a minute, maybe this isn't such a bad thing after all, you know?
Yeah.
I was talking to an old friend only yesterday who his kids have grown up, and one of them, you know, they're all working abroad, so they're thinking of downsizing their house, and they've always lived in South Manchester, you know, it's a pretty nice area. And he's saying, well, yeah, actually, I'm not sure I want to live in a city anymore. And, you know, that sort of that difference, because, you know, we've all had a lot of time on our hands to do things and not necessarily done the things that we would have done before, except in your case where you've been busy writing and getting ready for your PhD and everything else.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's something else is happening. But I think it has been a very reflective year for a lot of us. And I don't know that necessarily that's a bad thing. I think the pace of life was getting so intense, and the expectations that we place not just on each other but on ourselves are becoming almost, you know, unachievable. And then, of course, you have these feelings of insufficiency and insecurity because you're not kind of, excelling in everything that you do. And it's put an awful lot of expectations on ourselves. And I think that the whole lockdown has been an opportunity for us to just spend time together. I mean, in my household, we've been jigsaw puzzling, and we sit in front of the fire and we talk, and we've gone back to having dinner around the table every evening because nobody's, everyone's home. We finish work and we come home and we have dinner at the table because you can't pop out and do this and do that. And it's actually been really nice to return to some of those core principles.
It's interesting you're saying about the jigsaw puzzles. I was listening to something on Radio 4 the other day, and obviously they've been talking to lots of people how they're dealing with the pandemic, and they were interviewing a young guy, 21-year-old, just graduated, and he started a kind of business, really. I suppose it's become a business where he films himself doing jigsaw puzzles.
Oh, really?
And he films it, and it takes him 2 or 3 days maybe to do a sort of substantial, but then speeds the whole thing up so that you see him doing it in a matter of, I don't know, minutes.
That sounds really satisfying.
And he's got millions of viewers on YouTube or Instagram. And he's actually got to the point now where the jigsaw puzzle manufacturers, who are suddenly seeing this new boom,
sending him.
He said, yeah, they pay me 500 quid or £1,000 per jigsaw.
Wow.
And suddenly he's got this new career.
Oh, business opportunity.
Shrewd lad, that one. Yeah. Okay, then. So this is going to be Kiss My Troubles, then. Yeah.
My troubles away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get myself organized. I just got to download it. 1 second.
It's okay. Yes, you wouldn't. In fact, there was a great song called Jigsaw Puzzle Blues, wasn't there? Do you know that song?
Say that again. Sorry, I just picked up the hands.
An instrumental called Jigsaw Puzzle Blues.
No, is there really?
Yeah, I think it's on. It was recorded by Fleetwood Mac, and I'm not sure whether Peter Green wrote it or whether Danny Kerwin wrote it. But it was on one of the early Fleetwood Mac albums. Da, 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 da,
so we need to play that whilst we do the jigsaw and video the jigsaw and then speed the jigsaw up. And you have like a jigsaw movie.
Absolutely. Yes. If anybody's listening can tell me rapidly without me having to Google it, who wrote Jigsaw Puzzle Blues? Was it Danny Kerwin or was it Peter Green? So there you go. That's your task. In the meantime, over to you, Malaya.
This is Kiss My Troubles Away. I walk through the door, kick off my shoes and leave them on the floor. Keys rattle as they hit the rack. I hear meows, guess I gotta feed the cat. The dog looks up with a happy face, but the day's been long, so stay in place. Mama's tired, need a shower, heading up the stairs for an hour. But then I hear you moving up there. I leave my office clothes on the stairs. Oh yeah, you kiss my troubles away. 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 Gotta send that email and organize the news, bills to pay and deadlines loom. No one to do it but this crazy fool. Add to the shopping list, the dry cleaners too. All the washing, building in the hall. I gotta get my hands on baby and do it all. Gotta write a letter to the boss, talk about my wages and hours lost. But then I hear you moving up there. I throw my office clothes on the stairs. Yeah, you kiss my troubles away. troubles away. You kiss my troubles away. You kiss my troubles away. Yes, you do.
Excellent, excellent, good stuff. Now that one, I know that's not one that you wrote with Dennis, is it?
No, that was an MB solo number.
All right, it's got another. Oh, sorry, I misread that then. Does it say G. Pattison?
Yeah, G. Pattison. Yeah, that's my husband. We composed the tracks between us.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Oh right, I didn't know
so
that.
We composed the songs. Actually, no. It really starts with his original composition. So he comes up with a compositional idea. We've been doing this for years and years together, and then he sends it to me, and then I start working on top lines, lyrics, and ideas. I might make suggestions about the arrangement or the instruments. And then we kind of bounce things backwards and forwards until we have a working demo. And then we share the working demo with the band, the studio band that Steve, always picks brilliant guys to work on the tracks. And then I start working with them about what I'm looking for in terms of production value. And then we get it into the studio. And then in the studio, I'm a firm believer in you've got to let people do what they do best, know, and you've got to let them bring their interpretation of what I've written, what's in the song, into the studio so that they can be heard in their voice. The trick, as you know, Rowland, the trick is to then get the right musicians so that when they come together, that you get that magic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think one of the things with Still, and I certainly don't take credit for the whole album because, I sat and wrote the songs, or maybe I was involved in the arrangements, but Graham very much is involved in the compositional side of things. Dennis taught me so much about putting words on paper. Peace, which we're going to come to a little bit later, is a song that Dennis wrote, which is just, stunning. What a beautiful use of the human language to express how we feel about something. Steve put the band together, and the band came into the studio, and they absolutely bossed it. They came in ready. I send them MIDI demo tracks, and they came in and they brought all their aces, and they played their hearts out. And then we had Sotos Engineering, who was just had this stillness about him. See what I did there? And he was able to meticulously hear the subtleties. I'd be like, I'm not sure what's wrong with that, but there's something there. We work on the clock in the studio, so I'd be like about 2:45, 2:46 seconds, something. I'm hearing something. What is it? And we'd go back and we'd listen. We'd go, yeah, just caught a string there. And he just had so much patience to work with that. And then, of course, the mastering that he did afterwards just solidified, just sealed the deal.
It's funny, the whole process of mastering is a bit of a black art, isn't it, really? Yeah. It's very hard to define what it entails, but it makes all the difference. It's an extraordinary process. I mean, people have tried to explain it to me, but I still can't. It's somehow that, as you say, it pulls everything together.
It does, and it starts such an interesting conversation. And this brings me back to mind when I did my music degree, and I was learning everything using MIDI instruments. And people were like, you can't write real songs with MIDI instruments. Well, you might not finish the song with a MIDI instrument, but your MIDI is your workstation. It gives you orchestras and such a wide variety of instruments. And if you use a digital audio workstation like us guys do, you can sit and put so many ideas together. So this idea of mastering and mixing is another one of those conversations. So there's a lot of controversy around, do you learn instruments and learn theory, or do you go with your vibe and use digital? And then the other conversation is, are we, can a producer and be the masterer, and should the masterer not be the guy, the sound engineer that's in the studio capturing the audio? And musicians, we're just a funny bunch, aren't we?
Yeah, there's always a problem, but it's always but we happily talk about the problems for forever and a day. Yeah,
hours, not days and weeks.
Let's go back to the beginning then. So you did a degree in music.
I did, yeah. I started with a creative music degree, so it was a digital music degree.
Yeah. And how? I mean, what sort of age? I mean, did you start that at like 18
I
or?
can't tell you that.
Well,
No,
no, I'm trying. Okay,
I
where did you start in music? Then let's
well, I
tread on safer
started
ground.
later. So I suppose if we were looking at chronologically,
Mm,
I started messing about with music when I was about 19 or 20.
mm,
And I worked predominantly with other musicians, and I would just kind of be the vocalist. And then I started writing some of the top lines and some of the lyrics. So
mm,
that led into me working as a kind of top line writer vocalist.
mm,
Um, and then I just, we used to have things like Songlink magazine. I don't know if that's still
yeah.
around, where we would collaborate with other musicians. So
Mm,
I found Andy Littlewood on there, and I
mm,
did a lot of work with Andy for a long period of time. We did a lot of um, happy hardcore, heavy dance tracks,
right.
hard pop. We did a lot of stuff for games, Sony
Yeah.
PlayStation, and it was very high energy stuff.
Mm,
But Andrew Littlewood would use me to record vocals for other projects as well. And
mm,
I recorded the track Bourbon Street, and I sent it back. I just kind of did it at home, sent it off.
mm,
And he came back and said, they really love this track, but what they really love is your voice on it. Would you think,
mm,
would you consider doing a whole blues album? So I was like, well, yeah, why not?
mm.
I'd love
Why
to.
not?
And so we wrote Bourbon Street, and that was the
Right.
beginning of this journey that we're on now, which
Mm,
was, thank God that happened.
mm. Right place, right
Um,
time.
so it's been going on for quite some time. So I had businesses down in Essex, and then there was a change in my personal
Mm,
circumstances,
mm,
and so I took stock in my mid 30s and went back to school. And I
mm,
went off and did a music degree, and thereafter I just carried on adding things to my
mm,
education, because I realized that actually education is a vehicle for self-improvement and for creating your own opportunities. Instead of
mm,
waiting for somebody else to give you that opportunity, you create your own. So I use education as a vehicle to just keep getting a better version of me, I
oh, that's
hope.
cool. That's, I
Other
think
people may argue that point, of course, but hey,
it's a very
it's
positive.
my opinion.
I don't think I've heard anybody else be as positive in the last 9 months as you were. Brilliant. It's really good. Who do you in terms of as a vocalist, who do you really rate as a vocalist? Who are
Oh,
your idols?
this is always a funny question, because
Mm,
when I was first introduced to female singers, I was quite young, and my dad had a vinyl collection, and he had singers like Barbara Streisand and
mm,
Shirley Bassey. Of course,
mm,
they weren't pop back then, but and I used to love Top of the Pops. That was my one TV pick of the week.
mm,
But what I noticed was I was really attracted to powerful female voices.
mm,
And of course, as we then got into kind of the 80s and the 90s, we had all the Whitneys and the Mariahs, and they were
mm,
working all these vocal tricks. And I would
mm,
be like, I want to be able to sing like that. And
mm.
I worked and lived in London for several years. I was in my car a lot driving around. So I kind of had all my vocal coaching off the radio in the car, working between sites. I mean, I think, voices are so subjective, aren't they?
Mm,
What one person loves, another person has no time for.
mm,
I love female voices that can tell stories. I need to feel what's going on in that
mm,
lyric, and in the mind of the person that's. So of course, the minute you think about that, you've got your Aretha Franklin's, your Betty LaVette's, your storytellers, and the
yeah.
voice is just a vehicle. It's not really about showcasing what they can do with their voice. It's
Mm,
about how they can share the story with you,
yeah.
uh, in tune, in a
I
nice
think
way.
I think that's an important point. I think, and I'd go along with you totally on that, in the sense that I know I'm obviously meet a lot of musicians, a lot of singers, and quite often people talk about singers, and rather than sort of thinking, okay, let's go back to the greats, the Aretha Franklins and the
Yeah.
Shirley Bassies, of course, being Welsh, I have to support Shirl. But the more recent singers, a lot of them are derivative, shall we say. And a lot of them don't sing melodies. I think that's one of my. They tend to improvise without actually stating the melody in the first place. If you know what I mean, which I find very difficult. But I think you're right about the idea of the storytelling, because I think there are
I
stories.
think it's so critical, and sometimes when I listen to a singer, just because you can doesn't mean to say you should, and it's the same with playing instruments. Just
Absolutely.
because the notes are available, it doesn't necessarily mean you've got to play all of them. And there is a tendency now, especially with kind of the way media represents female vocalists, I think there's a bit of a tendency to think you've got to be able to do all this scat and all these vocal runs and all these technicals. But actually, if you can't tell the story, if you can't convince the listener that there is truth and honesty in what you're singing about.
And that is the melody. The melody is the truth.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
in the terms you're saying, because I think it's. I mean, I played jazz for many years, and that was one of my big things about this. Is I remember going on an intensive jazz course, and the song we were working on was just Friends, and the melody is very simple. It just goes, friends, lovers no more, friends. So we were working on this tune, and the sax player started, and then we counted it in, and they did the intro, and the sax player started going da 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 da, and the guy just stopped completely, and he said, "No,
God.
that's not it."
Yeah.
The words are friends, lovers no more. It's not effing friends no longer, effing lovers. And it's always stuck with me. I thought it was a beautiful way of putting it, because, that melody, and somebody spent a lot of time, as you would know, writing that melody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for it just to be dragged away, kicking and screaming, is just.
So you'll be familiar with Mark Murphy?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, I'm an absolute Mark Murphy fan.
Right.
I just adore him. And, there's another really charismatic personality. Sadly, he's not with us now, but,
No.
When he sings, you believe every word he says. And he had so much technical ability, but he always put the song first, the word, the moment of reflection that comes as the word closes. That's where he would leave you, rather than look at everything I can do. And of course, when he did it, it was outstanding. But I mean, Mark Murphy, fantastic jazz singer. Very difficult for a female singer to sing along to, but he taught me a lot about range and about moving notes down into the lower part of your chest and getting that resonance, just by listening to him, really, and copying.
Yeah, I mean, getting the different registers to your voice as well. And one of the most remarkable things I saw was to see Tony Bennett at the Bridgewater in Manchester, where he sang. I was very late getting the tickets. I was in the gods, and he sang one song without a microphone, just with a guy playing guitar.
Fantastic.
And it was transcendent. It was just absolutely amazing. And I mean, he must have been, I mean, I don't know how old he is now, but he must have been in his 80s then.
It's incredible, isn't it?
His voice was extraordinary.
Yeah. You look after your instrument, it can look after you.
Absolutely. So let's, and by the way, we've started a bit of I've started a bit of debate here. I'm not sure whether it's my fault. We've got B-side to Albatross. Steve Banks tells us that, in fact, Jigsaw Puzzle Blues was the B-side to Albatross.
Okay.
And it was actually written by Danny Kirwan. It says here, A-up, it was Danny Kirwan what roted JSP Blues. And here we've got somebody called Mickey Spectrum and the Spectrum Radio Crew.
Oh, Mickey, hey. Hey, Mick, how you doing? Nice to have you along. Thanks for coming.
It's a reunion tonight, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely. Yeah, really nice.
Excellent. So do you want to do us another song?
Yes, I will do. As we talked about the importance of the word, I'll do peace.
Excellent.
Okay. Stand by.
We're ready to go.
Just got to get my track up. There she comes. Any second now. You see, it's truly live, isn't it? We're waiting for stuff.
Yeah, there is no safety net.
No. All right, any second. It's just downloading. Here she comes. All right, so I'm going to take a nice easy stroll through this track. Because, these are all acoustic versions of the album. And actually, we did do the whole album again acoustically. So we've got that to play with. That'll be somewhere in the future. I'm not saying any more on that one.
Excellent.
Okay, so this is It's Going to Be So Hard. She got up early, put her best dress on, combed her hair, hummed a gospel song. She took out her Bible, she knelt and she prayed. Her son was coming home today. Didn't Jesus say to love your fellow man? And one day the lion will lie down with the lamb. She walked to the bus stop as a light rain fell. Sat all alone, she heard some soft church bell. She pictured her boy walking out the door, so proud and strong as he left for war. Didn't Jesus say to love your fellow man? Then one day the lion will lie down with the lamb. Didn't Jesus say to love your fellow man? And then one day the lion will lie down with the She watched at the airport as his plane came in. At last she thought his worries had an end. Then she saw his coffin, flag draped down
Great song. Great song. Was it a specific incident that
Well,
made you
you
think
know,
of
this
the
Dennis used
idea
to
behind that one?
play the last post, and it was one of the things that he
Right.
had to stop doing because it was just too traumatic. So the bugle last post, as the boys came off the planes as they came back from war.
Mm,
And so this is really, this is Dennis's song. Dennis gave this
mm,
to me like as a gift. It's just such a
mm,
beautiful song. And when the first recording we did in the studio, I just lost it. I mean, I knew I
mm,
would because it's so
mm,
emotional. Um,
mm,
and I always struggle. There are a couple of songs that I find difficult to perform in front of other people because I get all cryy. Um,
mm,
but Dennis wrote Peace. It's a beautiful,
mm.
incredible, wonderful song, and I'm very, very, very lucky to have
Yeah.
material like that given to me, so I
Yeah,
can just
absolutely.
explore it.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, beautiful song.
It
Beautiful.
is.
Well done. Well done. Yeah,
Thank
I was
you.
looking through some of the lyrics as well as following it, because sometimes it's nice to listen to lyrics, but it's also nice to actually read them
Read them, absolutely.
because they reads beautifully. Excellent stuff. Um, what about other plans? I mean, I suppose you've only just got this album. What's your obviously none of us really know what we'll be doing next
No,
year, but ideally,
no.
what's your plan?
Well, there are plans. We're busy in the background.
Mm.
We've got a couple of things bubbling up. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say because I always get told off by Steve. Nobody knows this about him. He raps my knuckles. He's like, MB, really? But unless he comes up in the chat and says, can you tell Emily to stop talking? Roland, will you let me know? I'm
Yes,
just
I
going to
will
say it
do.
anyway. So
Yeah.
we got some plans involved. We did the studio album again acoustically. Nat Martin came to my house
Mm,
and we did all of the tracks with just guitar. So we've got these wonderful different versions, and we had some interesting conversations with the label about, do you do, if you just come out of the studio with an album, why would you kind of record then an acoustic version? And
mm,
they're great because they get on board with our ideas, and I thought it would be a nice way to speak the song about the songs in a different language. So
mm,
we recorded the whole album acoustically. Now what we've got, of course, is 12 acoustic versions. Well, if you take off the two already acoustic tracks on the album, that
mm,
gives us 10 fantastic tracks
mm,
with that are just acoustic. So we've got plans for those tracks.
mm,
This is what I'm alluding to.
mm,
One of them is like a Christmas present.
mm,
And actually, it's the song that I've just delivered, Peace.
mm.
That's going to go out to everyone that subscribes on the Malaya Blue website. So please, guys, come along to malayabluemusic.com, find the subscribe button, ping me your email. The site is growing, which is fantastic. We need your support. I got to do this, Ronan. This is okay, isn't it? I got to
Of
do
course
this.
it is. Of
We need
course
your
it is.
support. It's so difficult for songwriters working at home. We've lost a lot of our income with gigging. We do this because we love doing it, and we know you guys love to listen to our music. So please come along and subscribe. And if you can hit the subscribe button on the MB website, on Christmas Eve, we'll be sending out the recorded acoustic version of Peace as a Christmas present, to say thank you. So I say thank you in advance. So hit that
There you
button.
go. Yeah, absolutely fine. Great idea. Great idea. And also, I think that it's very interesting, the idea, because one of the things about doing this series of programs is the fact that the songs are naked, in the
Yes.
sense there's nothing, the song is there, you've got lyrics, you've got a melody, and you've got chords, and
Yeah.
that's it, buddy. And I think that a song, I like the idea that a song should stand up on its own, in that simple form.
Yeah,
um
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And I think, you know, again, with the way kind of a lot of music is represented on the television, and we can't ignore this because this is where our future
mm,
musicians, this is what they're being exposed to if they're not seeing live music. Um, and it's great if you go into a studio and you put a bit of compression, maybe
mm,
a tweak of auto tune, a little bit of reverb. We've got
mm,
all these things, but you need to be able to work with the song completely raw. You've got to learn the
Absolutely.
song and
Yeah.
sing the song with just, you know, one other instrument perhaps,
Mm.
to really know if the song has got power and
Yes,
strength.
I agree with you entirely, and
Yeah,
as I say, that was part of the reasoning behind this idea. But
yeah,
also,
brilliant.
I I wrote a song earlier on, no, the end of last year, which was called "Nobody Sings the Video." On the basis that I do find it very frustrating when I hear musicians, performers these days saying, "Oh yeah, well we've done the album and the videos." Well, yeah, the video, yeah, okay. And I've got nothing against making videos. I used to do it for a living, so I'm all right with that. But on the other hand, when it comes to music, it's, you know, the cover of a book is important, but it's the
Mm,
book that counts. And I
yeah.
feel a little bit the same. And there are some fabulous videos out there. Don't get me wrong. I think some of
Mm,
the stuff that's been done is extraordinary. But I do think at the end of the day, music is about music, and there should be that purity with it. It's
yeah,
if it exists, it
I
exists
agree.
in this form, you know. So
Yeah,
I'm wholeheartely with you on the acoustic album. That
excellent.
sounds a great idea.
I'll make sure you get a version.
Okay, thank you. Got time for one more song.
Awesome.
What?
Well, I've saved the best till last, I like to think. Um, this is a track called Hot Love, which,
Mm,
you know, we had a lot of fun with, and it was interesting. This was one of the tracks we took into the studio. It came out as quite a big do 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 do. You know, it's kind of it's all going on. And then when Nat came over and we did it acoustically, we said, "Oh, let's just strip it down to
yeah,
almost nothing."
yeah,
And then when we listened back to the tracks, we kind of went, you know what, that really works. So maybe Roland, this is kind of what we're alluding to, this
yeah.
idea that if a song is a good song, hopefully, it'll work kind of whatever treatment you give it.
Yes,
I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know. Nobody really understands how this whole process works. You know, songwriters, I wake up in the morning and there's a song in my head. I don't know where it's come from.
Mm,
I know I need to get it written down.
mm.
Um, but it's just such a curious
I'd go
hobby.
along with you again on that, about the idea that if it's a good song, it can be treated in many different ways. You know that um, I've always had this thought about certain types of like rock songs. Um, like I've attempted doing things like, I was a big fan of Free, was one of my favorite rock bands of all
Yeah, of
time.
course.
Absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful. Kossoff was my number one guitar player hero. And All Right Now, which I don't think is one of their best songs personally, but it sounds great on acoustic guitar with just
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's a
Absolutely.
simple, and I like that approach. The other one, that I've heard done beautifully by a singer called Ken Bailey, who we met out in Italy. Although we met him in Italy, he's actually a British guy, and he does a version of Purple Rain,
Oh, I love that
just
song.
voice
Oh,
and grand piano,
wonderful.
and it is absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get Ken on the show, because he
Oh,
did this,
please
and
do. Let me
he did
know.
it in this beautiful setting in a sort of medieval palace in central Italy, and it was just him and this phenomenal piano player, and it was Purple Rain, and then I think he played a bit of alto sax in the middle of it, but that was all it was. But you know, you listen to the original Purple Rain, and it's a massive production, but the
Yeah,
song's still there.
absolutely. Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
just such a fantastic song. There's so many
it is.
variations of it, but as you say, a
Mm,
good song's a good song. Yeah.
absolutely. So, Hot Love then.
Awesome. Yeah. So this
Yeah,
is our last track, and
yeah,
this is Hot Love.
great.
Yeah. Oh, oh. We've been talking all night, drinking all the liquor, trying not to fight. You keep on coming at me, pointing with your finger, but what do you see? Am I down on my knees, begging for forgiveness, begging to please? No, 'cause you have nothing I need, so get out of my garden, you poisonous seed. 'Cause I have a dream, I have a dream, and I deny you, defy you, and I get hot love, the kind of love that I'm dreaming of. Hot love, the kind of love that this girl desires. Hot love, the kind of love that I'm dreaming of. Yeah, the kind of love that this girl desires. Got a new attitude, fed up with your washing and cooking your food. You've been leaning on me, weighing me with troubles, but I'm breaking free. You see, you played all your cards, all that's left are jokers, worthless and scarred. 'Cause you have nothing I need, so get out of my garden, get out of my garden, 'cause I have a dream, I have a dream, and I deny you, defy you, and I get hot love, the kind of love that I'm dreaming of. Hot love, the kind of love that this girl desires. Hot love, the kind of love that I'm dreaming of. The kind of love that this girl desires. And I get hot love, the kind of love that I'm dreaming of. The kind of love that this girl desires. Yeah, the kind of love that I'm dreaming of. The kind of love that this girl desires.
Great. Nice one.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Lovely. Well, Malaya, it's been an absolute pleasure seeing you again.
It has. Thank
After
you so
all
much
this
for having
time.
me.
Yes, fantastic, great songs. Best of luck with the album. Steve was telling me this morning that it's still in the charts. It's still registering well, which is good.
14 weeks in the chart.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's a good Christmas present for you, isn't it? So
thank you to everyone that came and came to see the show as well, and get behind this, get into Talking Songs, tune in weekly, come and support the musicians that you love.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you for that. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. I've loved it. It's been great. Thank you, Rowland.
Excellent.
Thanks everybody.
See you soon.
Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.
That was great. It was June the 11th, I think, 4 years ago when we first met Malaya, and I think I must have got a call from Steve originally, who I've got to know since because we both work on Blues Matters together. And I've got this singer coming up and needs a band. So me and the Movable Feast, well, three of us, went off and did it. No, in fact, we had an Italian piano player with us as well, thinking about it. Great night. Really, really good songs. Great performer. Lovely. So thanks to everybody for coming in. Sorry about the slight complication at the beginning, although probably you wouldn't have noticed because you wouldn't have noticed it wasn't going out. But if there was a lot of hesitation and a little bit of a kerfuffle, that was entirely unpredictable. I had this problem that the thing didn't latch. We had the same problem last night with some technical stuff. It wouldn't latch. But there you go. We got through it and it was good fun. And just to tell you what we've got coming up, in the rest of December, we've got another 2 shows coming up in December. We're taking the week off between Christmas and New Year. Next week, I've got George Borofsky on, which will be good. The legendary George, who knows all the chords. The following week, got Carly Thomas, who's a new name to me, but Canadian songwriter who will be joining us from Ontario. And then in January, we've got Steve Donahue, local northwestern lad. Then a gentleman called Carl Wyatt, who's originally Irish. He's originally, he is Irish. We met him in Italy, and he lived in France. Blues player met at the Blues Festival, the Blues Made in Italy Festival in just outside Verona some years ago. He's coming on. And then towards the end of January, on the 26th, we've got the legend that is Dana Gillespie. Great performer, Dana, as well as her, how shall I say, reputation for being involved with many famous people. And she's just published her memoirs as well. It comes out in January, which I'm sure will be very entertaining. She tells a story about how when she was 16, I think she was smuggling David Bowie into her bedroom whilst her parents were asleep upstairs. And it's an amazing woman. But she's also recorded over 60 albums. And again, I met her 2 years ago down at Skegness when we were down there for the Blues Matters show. A great performer, writes great songs. They've got a really sort of almost like a 30s blues feel to them, in the sense there's a lot of risque stuff going on there, but great performer. So Dana's going to be with me on the 26th of Jan. So thanks again for coming along tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. And as Ronnie Scott used to say, if you've enjoyed it half as much as I have, then I've enjoyed it twice as much as you have. And on that note, look after yourselves and stay safe, and see you soon. Bye.